Hey loves, so today we're going to be, because I was asked about this a little while ago, I didn't realize that they had asked it about 6 months ago. We're going over a Valkyrie build, particularly one that was asked after the rework. I haven't gotten to it because I've been messing around with it. So this is the build I've been running. It is a Persistence, Arcane Blessing, basically increasing the amount of HP I get, and scaling the survivability timer. Ignore this. This is just for the memes. I often do not like Prime Sure-Footed, but it's just here because I can. This is the general setup that I have. Basically scaling as much strength as I can get to get the most out of Warcry's armor increase, attack speed increase, the vulnerability of paralysis increases, and then more damage from Hysteria. You don't need adaptation, that's why this is here. It's a flex slot, you can throw in an augment if you want to. I always recommend Eternal War, it just makes not having to worry about recasting Warcry. If you were to swap adaptation, I would recommend prolonged paralysis. It creates a vacuum cone, allowing you to pull enemies in. You can do other things like range mods, adrenaline if you really want to. There are other things you can have. This is just kind of a flex slot. This is purely excessive. You don't need it because Hysteria gives you, knockdown immunity. This is the Talons build that I have for when you start getting into higher tier content. You can't really tank as many hits. I have our melee fortification. Actually, I need to crank that up. So if you can tell, I haven't touched it in a while. You don't need melee fortification. This is purely just complete overkill survivability because it just drastically increases your armor. You can take, and realistically, melee dowity would work. You just have to put on some puncture mods if you really wanted to, but the slash is already so high it wouldn't matter too much. Melee Kareen is always good. It's kind of best in slot for a lot of builds. I've seen people do really well in like strong builds with melee animosity, because that's also really good on Valkyrie because she has really high melee damage or like heavy attack damage. You can generally actually run most things. I would not recommend melee exposure unless you're spamming your abilities, but again, that's, personal preference. Melee duplicate I wouldn't recommend because she already has a high base crit chance. Show you the companions. I have an OcuCore Synapse for AoE clear if I somehow, some way can't kill enemies, which would be weird if I couldn't. This is probably the most important thing, is your companion. This is the current setup I'm having for status priming. Corrosion, radiation, all the ones that give all the ones I can get on that give damage vulnerability. And then this is the build I have, basically centered around spreading status. And I will show you here how it functions. Just get as much HP as I can. I am using a Vortex build on the Venka Prime, but genuinely, you can use any melee weapon and this will work, because the strength of this build is, it's almost impossible to kill. Let me actually show that by unequipping my companion. So he doesn't instantly kill everything in the area, because they don't fuck with that. Get all my buffs active, and I can just stand here. This build is incredibly hard to kill, if you can't tell, and it's Valkyrie, so I just have, the ability to gain vulnerability. And if I'm alone, I just heal. That's pretty much just the build. I'll show it here in some gameplay footage. You know, I think I'll probably load it into some higher level content. Probably just do the first couple missions of Elite Debug Media, just to really show how tanky it is. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll get it to you here in a moment.
Experiment. Hellscrub. If there are Peely Picks on any of these exhumed bad boys, I'll detect them and mark the timeline continuing.
Wait! When would you have put Peely Picks on a hell scrubber? You know what? It's better if I don't know.
attack rot from here.
Oh god. Try smelling it from our position. Burnt plastic is potpourri compared to this stuff.